Hello everybody and welcome to the video. I'm Rob Arnold. You said you wanted more, and so more is what I've got for you. In last week's video, Inside the Rehearsal Room with Chimaira, we took a look at the pre-production and preparation process before we began recording drums at the studio for Chimaira's Resurrection album. And in today's video, we're going to look at some discussion and actual demo recording for the title track from that record, Resurrection. In just a moment, we're going to get in there and watch Arnold really track his drums for this initial demo. We're going to take a look at Matt and I recording guitars simultaneously, which is something we never usually do in the studio. And we'll even see Jim recording some bass, all with some play-by-play commentary as I let you know what I'm thinking about what we're hearing and what we're seeing. Should be exciting. Hope you enjoy it. Let's do it.
Oh shit! I wonder if that picked it up.
It did.
20 and a 2 and a 3. What's that?
Is that going on the DVD?
Yeah, Arnold.
Dude, goddamn
How's it
home
going?
video.
I've actually filmed a room like this before with my
So
camera.
we'll just take another little look here at the practice spot at the time. Some of my guitars there, a couple 7s and a couple 6s. I don't even remember that I had that red. I believe that's an MH307 there.
Turn that shit off, come on!
Sorry. Oh, so let me talk about this for a second here. That Friday's rug there, it's just kind of a funny thing. The band went through this stint, a couple guys in the band. You know, every time we'd go to a restaurant, a Fridays, a Cheesecake Factory, an Outback Steakhouse, whenever they could, they'd steal the rug out of there like that. And we started having them on stage with us because it's always good to have a rug on stage so you don't slip in water or whatever, you know, if things get wet. So I'd be standing on one, Mark would be on one, Matt and Jim would be on one, that sort of thing. And anybody who's seen us from the balcony during this era will be like, oh yeah, I've wondered why there was an Outback Steakhouse rug on stage. It was because these guys would collect these and we'd play with them on stage every night. Funny thing, I certainly don't condone the theft of them, but it was funny, and in the grand scheme of things, what does it actually hurt?
Do an extreme zoom up.
So, right now we're gonna go. We're just gonna fill into the next part. For right now, we'll do the 1-2. How are we gonna do that one?
I think we should keep it flowing. Don't do it.
So here we're going through a pre-tracking discussion, part by part, all the fills, every transition, parts we're unsure about that maybe we want to talk about what we're going to decide on, so Arnold knows exactly what he's supposed to be playing in certain parts. And this just shows the level of scrutiny that we would take things through. Multiple demos, recording here, recording again down in Sanford, recording again here, then recording back in the studio for real. We would just have multiple layers of these demos, constantly refining, constantly improving. So that when we hit the studio, we're prepared.
0 1 0 1 0 1.
B.
Binary code.
You're gonna see what goes on here at the Chimaira practice because we take things very seriously.
Acting master.
Are you gonna put this on the site tonight, Rob?
So this is cool. We get to take a look at the whiteboard that I mentioned in the first video that we weren't able to see what it was. So obviously it's just a cheat sheet for us, going over things that we can look at. Andals would have had a chance to see that, from the drums. He could see that whiteboard if he's forgetting like, oh, what's coming next year? 'Cause it's a lot to remember. We've got so many songs that we're working on simultaneously, so many different parts, so many discussions, so many changes every single day. I'd call Matt, in the middle of the night, hey, that one riff, let's move it down 1 fret on the third measure, and stuff, and we'd try to remember that stuff. And also we could take a look here. I also mentioned the working titles. Those are the song titles you use while you're writing the songs. They obviously don't all have their titles usually until lyrics are written to them and there's some sort of theme or something that Mark wants to name them. So you can see a couple of them are already named here. End It All, The Flame had a name by this point, but I guess the working titles for this record, which I hadn't remembered, were The Steves. So just think how difficult that was to wrap your head around those songs and to refer to them. There's 20 of them there. It says Steve 20 plus 0.5s and 6. So there might have been 25 versions of stuff going on, and we'd have to refer to as Steves until Mark started naming the songs. So, but anyways, interesting. Anybody catch that song Matt was playing there? Big time Chimaira fans may catch it. Go back and check that out. No prizes involved if you can tell me what it is in the comments, but get my respect. Handle stretching out here a bit. I think I was tracking him just with his kicks direct in and then one SM58 just in the room to capture the entire drum kit. And this is right around the time too I'd gotten just my first MacBook and first M-Box there. It was just learning Pro Tools. I would just watch Ben Schigel at Spider Studios over the years just to learn how to do things and was just figuring it out as I went here. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
So what we're gonna see here is Andel's getting into it. He's gonna track for real, and we're just gonna record it so that Matt and I can record our guitars and Jim can record his bass to it. And what we're doing is trying to make solid demos with solid arrangements and good sounding stuff so that Mark has a quality demo to record his vocals, to write and record his demos to, as well as we're demoing the tracks and figuring stuff out. So, you know, I mean, as a vocalist, I would feel more inspired personally with a better sound recording, something realistic, something you could jam to and feel the emotion of and stuff, rather than just some hodgepodge, blown out garage recording or something. We would take the time to try to do this stuff to make them sound good for every step of the way. Also for Spikuza, Chris, there were a lot of questions about where's Chris during this whole process in the comments on the last video. And while I did explain some of that at the very end of the video, maybe you didn't make it that far. I always leave some nuggets there. Not always, but most of the time. Anyways, I'll re-explain that a little bit. By this time, this is like 2006, and Chris had already moved down to Tampa. He decided to move to Florida, and that's okay because his stuff didn't really start coming in until all the arrangements were really solidified. And he's talked about that before in one of the documentaries where me, Mark, Jim, Matt, Andals, we're constantly changing the songs, constantly refining stuff, constantly rearranging. And so if he were to spend a bunch of time creating his samples and atmospheres for some, 6-minute song that we decide to scrap half of and totally rewrite or rework or just abandon, then it's just his work would have been in vain. So it was better for him to have the almost totally complete arrangements to just start thinking about. There are exceptions, of course, when he would come up maybe just some cool sample that he'd want to show us to see if we can write something off of that. And a great example of that would be Dead Inside. Dead Inside would never exist from our first album, Pass Out of Existence, without having that sample at the beginning that then Hagar started in with that initial riff on, and the song was born just off that idea. But 99.9% of the time, Chris comes in with a general, mindset about what he wants to do when he hits the studio, and he's inspired there, being around the guys and hearing the stuff, and he's creating his stuff at the same time that we're laying down the songs for real in the studio, and it all just kind of comes together in the end. So it's kind of a cool working process, but that's why you don't see Chris in these videos at this stage of the game.
Okay.
Powerful. It's a cool beat, simple, but it's tribal. Driving. Trying to help you guys follow along where in the song we are. So there's something interesting. On the album version, we go resurrect. Oh wait, oh, dun, dun, dun. We hold that out longer, and at this point, I don't know if you rewind or you go back or whatever, you could see we just went straight from that final chorus right into that outro. There was no cliffhanger there. There was no suspense built in that. Boom. So that right there shows the evolution of the songwriting, just that little thing and the effect that that had on the song and that big ending to make it hit on that downbeat. Something that either came along as Mark was writing and he said, hey, I want this to go a little further, or perhaps it happened in the studio. Oh, what would happen if we move the song back a little bit and let that hang out? That'll be cool live, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, it was the right choice. Big, powerful bell ride. It was like that.
Do you want to redo the whole thing, or do you want to just punch in specific parts?
I'll do another take, because like, it was mainly like the bridge that I kind of fucked up a couple spots, but it wouldn't hurt to do the whole thing again, I guess.
Okay.
So I'm just going to try to explain something briefly, just kind of little recording technique here in a simple setup like this. And like I said, I'm going to try to be brief so I don't bore the people who aren't interested in this. But at the same time, I'm going to try to explain it in a way that you can understand too. It's a simple concept, but sometimes you just don't know until you hear it. Anyways, what's happening here is I'm recording the drums, as I said, just with two tracks, two mono audio tracks. One SM58 recording the entire kit, and that takes some time just to place it right. You do some tests. If it's too close to the cymbals, it's blown out by the cymbals. You want to get it just in a spot where you're getting enough kick and enough snare. You'll get the toms in there just by default, but you don't want the cymbals to totally blow out that microphone. And then we're also recording the kicks so that not only Arnold can hear his triggers in his ears, he's wearing headphones, but also so those kicks can come through the mix a little bit more. So at any rate, what's a good technique here is for comping tracks together. So those bottom two tracks, we'll call them blue and it's black and kind of purple. That was his first take. The top are his kicks, the black on the bottom is the room mic. The pink tracks on top are what's being recorded right now. This is Pro Tools, and when you're recording, they're pink. So that's the green, and those are his kicks, and the red, which is the room mic. So let's say in this take that he's doing, it's going great, and generally the second take or the later takes come on are better because the drummer's more confident, he's a little more warmed up, he knows the mistakes he made in the first take, and he can go to correct them in the second take. Now, if you go too far with it, if you're doing 10 takes, the drummer may be fatigued. So this is just a perfect example here. So let's just say he messes up something slightly, a transition from a verse to a chorus in this current take. But in the first take, that part's good. All I do is highlight that part that's good from the initial take and move it right in, copy and paste it into the current take. And it's essential that you're playing to a click here. It can be done without it, but he is playing to a click, so things are going to line up well. As long as he's playing on the same cymbals and the same drums and there's care taken in the edit, it's seamless. You would never even know. And this applies to everything. Guitars, bass, vocals. Doing guitar tracks, run through the song once completely and then just do it again on another track. And then you just listen through, there's some sloppy up-down picking in one of the tracks, grab that part from the other track. Hopefully it's better, you put it in. Or maybe you can grab it from another part in the song, and you just get rid of the bad parts and just copy in the good parts from the take, and you comp one master track together. So just a nice technique. Record your parts twice, exactly the same, and then just swap out the good parts or the bad parts for the good parts. Steve 20. Is it possible that this was Resurrection was the 20th song written for Resurrection and became the title track and the opening track on the album? I suppose.
Nice work, pal. How'd that feel?
A lot better than anytime that I've recorded anything in the bands that came back that felt the best. Better than the Sukovs, better than the Metallica song. That's good. Definitely gotta use those drums on that track.
What'd you say?
Definitely gotta use those drums on that track.
Couple of interesting things Arnold said there, something that I wasn't even aware of. He said that was the best he's felt, meaning how he felt and the best he felt that he performed since he's been back in the band. He left the band after The Impossibility of Reason, took like a 2-year break, came back, we're making Resurrection. But I guess he had recorded with the band again twice since he'd been back. The first time would have been at this point, we already went down to do pre-production in Sanford, Florida with Jason Sukoff and Mark Lewis. Not the actual tracking for the record, but we went down there first just to check those guys out. We were like, we wanted to see what they're like, what the results are like. I think we chose like 3 songs to just demo down there, just to record with them and get a feel for them. We ended up having a blast and obviously made the rest of the record with them. So again, just to put things in sequence, we went down there, did some pre-production. I believe recorded maybe End It All, Pleasure and Pain, and No Reason to Live, something like that. Checked it out, really enjoyed it. Came back, worked on the rest of the songs, wrote the rest of the songs, went to Annie Up to record the drums, then went back to Florida to do the rest of the instruments for the rest of the record there. So anyways, Arnold had said that he believed he performed better than that time with the band, and then his tracking for Disposable Heroes. He said the Metallica track, Disposable Heroes, that we did a cover of for the Kerrang! Anniversary Master of Puppets thing, and which is cool. I'll link that in the description below. You should definitely check out my favorite cover that I've ever been a part of. And Andel's killed that. We did that with Ben Schigel here at the Old Spider Studio. But he says right now he's feeling better. So Andel's right now, according to what he said there, is on top of his game. And finally, he's looking at those drums and he said, I definitely got to track the record with these drums, which he ended up doing. You could see in the Resurrection documentary where we're there at Annie Up. You see this kit there, and he wanted to take that. And the reason I like this is I'm glad Andel's like found some joy in this kit and felt good on it and wanted to play. He's sometimes he's not very decisive or lets you know how he's feeling about something. So I'm excited to hear that he's like, hey, I like that kit. I loved it. I love jamming on it. I want to record the album with it. Just kind of a cool moment.
All right. Guitars are next.
Guitar time.
That looks cool.
What's that?
Watch.
So our main intention here, Matt and I, just sitting across from each other and tracking like this, is so that we can totally dissect everything and hear it under a microscope like this. When you're jamming in a loud room with the bass and the drums and everything like that, you know, we see and we know what we're supposed to be playing, but we can't really get it under a microscope like we're doing here. How we're picking, every bend, all the vibrato, each slide we do. Not necessarily they had to be exactly the same, but we wanted to know what we were doing so that we could be most prepared for the recording session and be as tight as possible. so fun. I love these situations, just recording, doing our thing, just jamming, nothing better.
I'm at the.
Here, this, hold on.
That's what I need to do right there.
Okay.
Got it? Punch that part in. Because I want it to ring out like that though, but
There we go.
So recording with Jim was always fun too, because Jim loves being in the studio. We have a good time, and it's kind of a cool time to, again, just dissect what's happening with the bass and figure out the best way to mold it to what we need it to be, to just to represent the low end in the best way possible and just fill it all out and really just glue the song together. And so again, in a big rehearsal space environment where everybody's jamming, you can't really hear that. You hear the low end and everything, but you can't tell exactly what's going on. But when it comes time to record it and you can focus on it, there's lots of times where you may be like, hey, you know, it's not a good idea to try to pick exactly like Matt and I are. You do it halftime and it's fuller and heavier and just groovier. Or, oh no, don't play what we're playing here, just match the kick drums with the root notes. And that's the type of stuff that is just easier to discover under the microscope, as I keep saying. So anyways, all fun stuff. That's all I got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I got a question. I have enough. I found more. I have enough of this stuff here to do a couple more. But maybe it's overkill. Maybe this is just kind of enough. There's already so much surrounding this record, you know, because of the Resurrection documentary and the couple I've done here. But I could do a couple more. The bonus stuff that didn't make it to the Resurrection documentary, or that we filmed ourselves, such as a case like this when Todd Bell, the mastermind, wasn't around. So what I was thinking is, obviously, let me know in the comments whether you want more. Maybe you've seen enough or whatever. But I've been thinking about just doing a poll in the YouTube community there, where I can post a poll and ask the question: would you like more of this, or have you seen enough of it? And you guys can participate in that and vote on that, and let me know whether I should continue or just move on in some other video series or something like that. Now, I'd appreciate you subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and hitting that notification bell so that you know when that poll comes up. And I'll probably do it within the next week or so, but it's important. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed, all the new subscribers just over the past week since I did this last video. Has been absolutely incredible. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad to have everybody here. I want to tell everybody that my main intention here, you know, I've kind of fallen into, is having this Chimaira hub. It's awesome. Obviously, You know, so many of us love the music, and I'm so grateful for that. So are the rest of the guys. And just to have this opportunity and this platform to bring everybody together, to enjoy it together and stuff like that is totally awesome. And I am going to press onward, and I'm so glad to have you along. And I just know that there's so many out there that don't know about it yet, because every single day there's comments, hey bro, just found your channel, hey, didn't know you were doing this and everything. So help me spread the word, share the video. Thank you for all the interaction. Thank you for everybody just commenting, coming on board, liking the video. It means an absolute ton. Thank you so much to my Patreon members, who you really make this possible for me. If it wasn't for my Patreon community and the people that go above and beyond to support there, I really wouldn't be able to do this. Maybe I could put out you know, a couple videos here and there or whatever like that. To be able to do this full time and really produce one once a week while doing the other things in my life as well is really something special that I'm grateful for, and so grateful for all of you who are involved. If you'd like to hear more, check out more about my Patreon campaign and help support the channel, you can at patreon.com/RobArnoldWorld. Also, lots of other cool links and everything that I've talked about here in the description below. Make sure you check that out. I think that's gonna do it. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope maybe you can learn something from it, and at the very least, you've been entertained. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much. See you around.